Good day to all who are watching. Welcome back to yet another video session on the channel for the tutorial video series that we have been doing for the Homoeonic Software. And today we're going to go into some general explanation on the Diagnostics Module, which is a very awesome feature that the program has. Because it allows you to analyze and diagnose the patient's conditions and symptoms through the profile of the patient and the PGR, which is great because what we want to know is how our patient's health is doing, and it's great for saving time, and I think that's a good advantage that the software provides us. Now, what we're going to do first in order to create a new diagnose is just click on the button that says New Diagnose. It's very simple, right? And as soon as you click on New Diagnose, it's going to show us a new window. And in this window, you can either select the patient that you want to work on and diagnose, or you can use the search option above the list of your patients and just type in the name that you want to work on, the name of the patient. As soon as you click search, it's going to give you again the result of the search, and it's going to show you who you're looking for. So let's just go ahead and select this patient that we're going to work on, and let's label what we want to make this diagnose about. So let's say that our patient has been having some problems in his hands, and it could be osteoporosis. So we're going to type in the word bones, for example, just to give you an idea of what you can use as a tag, and just click on the button where it says diagnose, and it's going to create one. And if you've done previous diagnosis, it's going to show up below here, below the button where it says other diagnostics. For example, if maybe I run a flu analysis of the patient that I'm selecting right now, so that's where you're going to find them, or in the main window of the Diagnostics Module. You're going to see it over here on this section where I'm moving my cursor. So let's go ahead and click on Diagnose. Now, here is where it gets really interesting. In the upper left part of this module screen, you're going to see the patient's name. So you're always going to know who you're working with on the program. So it says right here, it's going to be in blue. It's Henry Colton in this case, and the name of the how you labeled the diagnostic, which is bones. So after you've done that, what you're going to do is you see over here on the left side, you have three sections. One of the sections is basically the patient's categories, which could be acids, acupuncture, and then after that's if it has a subcategory, you're going to see it down here. And on the right side, you're going to see the rates, and it's basically going to be all of these rates. For example, Buttercup or Charlock, they're also included in the manual. So if you already know the rate, you can either type it in or in the search part. So let's say I'm going to type in bones, and it's going to give me here the subcategories for bones. So let's say that I want to look for osteoporosis, right? So as soon as I click on it, on the right part here of the screen, it's going to show me the name of the rate, which is osteoporosis or brittle bones. And it's always the software is programmed to always give you a physical exam, a physical diagnose of the patient. And the value is always going to be, by default, it's going to be 50. But that's because we haven't run the process to diagnose. So before we get into that, let's check out these other two tabs on these two sub-tabs, which is the biologic information and the illness sub-tab. In the biologic information tab, you can get to select on what level you want to input information. So let's say I want to type in some physical information, and I want to put here my patient's height. So it's in meters by default. So let's say it's 1.8 meters, and the weight is 75 kilograms. And as soon as I click save, it's going to save the information. So if I change tabs, it's going to remain the same. And that's what this subtab is for. You can also perhaps register the temperature, the CMI, the RF, and or the systolic pressure. And in the subtab for illness, and here you can make notes on regards of the illness. So let's say that you want to give a description here of what the patient's conditions are. And in the query by instruments, perhaps you want to mention that you used a sample of his blood to run the diagnostics, as a witness. So going back to the rates and diagnosis subtab in the diagnostics module, we're going to go ahead and click on process diagnose. So after we've selected one or maybe more rates that we want to calculate and run the diagnose of our patient, we're going to click on process diagnose. And once you do that, it's going to change to this screen. Now, by default, it's going to show you that it's going to calculate it based on a scale of minus 100 to 100, which is what we call an overfunction or an underfunction. And we suggest that you leave it like that because most of the users and the clients that help their patients use this to run the diagnose. So before you click on the start button, if you want to add, maybe you forgot to add another rate, you can click on the button that says right here, add rates, and it'll take you back. So let's say that you want to select something else like this one, agua pluvia, and highlight it, and it's going to show up over here. And then click again and process diagnose. And once you've done that, you can start the diagnose. So as soon as you click start, it's going to start running the diagnose on your machine. If you look at it, it's going to change color, and it's going to check on the sample that you've input in the right socket. And once it's finished, you're going to see here on the screen the value that the machine gives you. Now, if you check on the manual, there is an explanation of what the value means. Now, the values should be between minus 100 and 100 positive. If it's between the range of 20 plus or minus 20, if the patient is within the age range of 12 and 35, which is like young to an adult, it's considered to be a good state. So, for example, softening of the bones. If you see here, it's minus 15. And if the patient is within that age range, we can go ahead and remove this because it's considered to be within an acceptable and healthy or balanced rate of the patient's health and in this particular characteristic. So just highlight it and you can delete it and it's going to be removed. And the ones that are over 20, it's considered that that part needs to be worked on. So for example, osteoarthritis or brittle bones. As you can see, the value here is very high, which is 98, so that needs to be looked at. There could be a calcium deficiency. I'm not really an expert on bones, but that's what the program is showing us. And once you have done this, you can save the diagnose into a card, which are the ESC cards. So if you have the card inserted, which I do, you're going to click on where it says safety card. And if you have the card inserted, it's going to start doing its process. It's going to show you the percentage until it's finished. And it's already been saved in there. Now, let's say that you forgot to input it. I just removed it, by the way. If you click on safety card, it's going to give you a dialog that says, please insert the ECS card. So you don't have to worry about, like, did I put it in there? Or if it didn't do it, it's going to show you on the screen. So let's say you put it back in, you click yes, look at your machine, it's running the process, it's going through the percentage up until 100, and that's been finished. Okay, so well, I hope this was very helpful for you, very informational. And if you have any further questions, you can use the webpage, or you can just consult the manual of the machine when you received it. And well, thank you very much for your time. This I hope you like this video. Share it with people so they get also informed on how to use the software. And well, once again, thank you for watching and have a great day.